Welcome to my channel, The Good Book Tales. In today's video, we step into one of the most mysterious and powerful writings ever recorded. The complete story of Revelation, told through the eyes of John. This is not just another story. It is a vision of hope, warning, and a glimpse into what lies beyond the limits of human understanding. Imagine being exiled on a lonely island, surrounded by the sea, cut off from the world you once knew. The air is quiet, heavy, and all you have are your thoughts and prayers. Then, in the stillness of that isolation, a voice like a trumpet breaks through the silence, calling your name, shaking you to your core. That is where John's story begins, and that is where Revelation opens its door to us. The book of Revelation is filled with visions unlike anything else in Scripture. It is dramatic, symbolic, and deeply human. It is a message of both judgment and redemption, of ultimate endings and eternal beginnings. Through John's eyes, we encounter angels, seals, trumpets, and scrolls. We see kingdoms rise and fall. We watch as forces of light and darkness clash in a cosmic story that has gripped the imagination of readers for centuries. But above all, we hear a voice that tells us to endure, to stand firm, and to look forward to the promise of what is to come. At its heart, Revelation is about unveiling, pulling back the curtain on reality, so we can see what lies beneath. Every symbol, every vision, every word carries weight and meaning. The beasts, the thrones, the riders on the horses, none of these are there by accident. Each one points us to a greater truth, a deeper reality that John is trying to put into words as he experiences something beyond human language. But Revelation is not only about the strange and the supernatural. It is also about us. It speaks to the fears we carry, the struggles we face, and the choices we make in a world that often feels uncertain. It shows us that history is not random, that the battles of today are part of a story much larger than we can see. It reminds us that hope is not just an idea, it is a promise sealed in eternity. As John's vision unfolds, we will see the letters written to the 7 churches, messages that speak to courage, faith, and perseverance. We will witness the opening of seals that release events across the earth. We will hear the blast of trumpets that shake the heavens. And we will watch as a great cosmic struggle unfolds, setting the stage for the final victory. Yet even now, as the vision begins, there is mystery. There are warnings. There are voices that say, "Let the one who has ears hear what the Spirit says." What is about to be revealed will challenge, inspire, and stir your imagination. And as we follow John's journey, one question will rise above them all. What will the end truly look like? Stay with me, because this is only the beginning. John's story begins in exile, on the small rocky island of Patmos. He had been sent there because of his faith, because he refused to stop speaking about what he had seen and heard from Jesus. Cut off from the communities he once guided, separated from familiar faces and places, John lived in solitude. Yet it was in that place of isolation, where the world tried to silence him, that the greatest vision was revealed. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful messages come when we are at our weakest, when everything else is stripped away. As the vision opens, John hears the unmistakable sound of a voice that is unlike any human voice, loud, clear, and commanding. It is as if heaven itself has bent close to speak directly to him. He turns, and what he sees is beyond description. 7 golden lampstands glowing with light, and among them, someone who looks like the Son of Man. His eyes shine like fire, his voice roars like rushing waters, and in his hand are 7 stars. The sight is overwhelming, and John falls at his feet, unable to stand. But the voice speaks gently, telling him not to be afraid. This moment is important because before the great visions of beasts, scrolls, and battles unfold, Revelation begins with a call to the churches. These 7 churches, scattered across Asia Minor, were real communities with real struggles. Some were strong in faith, others were wavering. Some endured persecution with courage, while others were tempted by comfort and compromise. To each one, the voice of Jesus speaks directly, encouraging, correcting, and warning. The words are filled with both hope and urgency, reminding every believer that their choices matter in the grand story of history. But even as these letters are spoken, shadows move at the edges of the vision. There is talk of perseverance, of enduring what is about to come. There are hints that trials will grow darker before light breaks through. The message is clear. This is not a comfortable story. This is a revelation that shakes kingdoms, unmasks powers, and shows the cost of faithfulness in a world that resists it. And just when the letters are finished, when the churches have been addressed, John is called upward, invited through a door into heaven itself. What waits there is not only glory, but also mystery. He sees a throne, blazing with light, surrounded by thunder and lightning. Around it are living creatures, voices crying out without ceasing, and a scroll sealed with 7 seals. The question rises in the silence. Who is worthy to open it? Who can break the seals and reveal what is hidden inside? The vision holds its breath, and so must we. For the story of Revelation is only beginning to unfold. John looks upon the throne, and the scene is overwhelming. Flashes of lightning streak across the sky, thunder rumbles through the heavens, and voices echo in praise of the one who sits at the center. Around the throne, 24 elders fall down in worship, casting their crowns before him. The vision is filled with majesty and power, but there is also a heaviness, because at the heart of it all rests the sealed scroll. No one dares to touch it. No one in heaven, or on earth, or under the earth can open it. The silence grows unbearable, and John weeps. The scroll contains the future, the unfolding of God's plan, and without it, the story cannot move forward. Then comes a new figure, a lamb, standing as though it had been slain, yet alive. The lamb approaches the throne, and the atmosphere shifts. Songs rise, voices cry out, and the heavens tremble as the seals begin to break. But with every seal opened, the world is shaken. Riders on horses thunder forth, each one carrying a different force that humanity has always feared. Conquest, war, famine, and death sweep across the earth, leaving behind questions of survival and faith. The conflict now grows clear. It is not simply about nations or empires, but about the clash between good and evil, hope and despair, endurance and surrender. John's vision takes us into the struggle every person faces, the choice between remaining faithful or giving in when the world grows darker. Subplots begin to weave through the story. The cry of martyrs under the altar, asking how long until justice comes. The signs in the heavens that shake both rulers and common people alike. And the whispers of powers rising in defiance against the Lamb. The seals continue to open, and each one pulls the vision closer to a climax that feels both terrifying and inevitable. But for now, the tension only grows stronger, leaving us to wonder what greater mysteries lie ahead. As the seals break one after another, the vision grows heavier, and the tension sharpens. John is carried deeper into scenes that shake the very core of creation. The heavens darken, the stars seem to fall, and the ground trembles beneath his feet. The rulers of the earth, the powerful and the mighty, cry out to the mountains to cover them, desperate to escape what is coming. Yet there is no hiding, for the unfolding judgment reaches every corner of the world. Trumpets sound next, each blast releasing waves of devastation that touch land, sea, and sky. The earth burns, waters turn bitter, and the light of the sun and moon fades. The visions are filled with fearsome images, swarms rising like locusts, with faces that seem almost human, bringing torment to those who do not bear the seal of God. The air grows thick with dread, as though the world itself holds its breath. John records every detail, knowing these words are not for him alone, but for all who will face uncertainty in their time. And still, the vision pushes further. Two witnesses appear, standing firm against the rising tide of evil. They speak with boldness, performing signs, but they are struck down by a power that mocks their message. For a moment, it seems as if darkness has won. The nations celebrate their fall, refusing to see the truth. Yet even here, suspense builds, for their story is not finished. Finally, the heavens open once more, and John sees signs of even greater conflict to come. A dragon rising, beasts emerging with authority and deception, and the whole world drawn into a choice between loyalty to the Lamb or surrender to the beast. Every vision tightens the tension, pulling us closer to the climax, where the ultimate battle between light and darkness waits to unfold. John watches as the dragon unleashes its fury, and with it comes a shocking twist in the vision. The beast from the sea rises, crowned with power, and speaking words that stir nations into submission. It appears invincible, its influence stretching across kingdoms and people. Crowds marvel, asking who can stand against such might. The scene feels overwhelming, as though the tide of history itself has turned in favor of darkness. And yet, there is more. From the earth comes another beast, one that works signs and wonders to deceive, urging the world to worship the first. Together, they weave a net of control, drawing people into allegiance that seems impossible to resist. This escalation is not only about external threats. It cuts deeper, into the very choices of the heart. The vision reveals a mark, an emblem of loyalty demanded by the beast, tied to survival in daily life. Without it, buying or selling becomes impossible. The stakes are raised to a level that touches every person, rich or poor, powerful or powerless. Here lies the second twist. The conflict is not just on battlefields or in the heavens, but within ordinary lives. Faith is tested not only in times of open persecution, but in the quiet decisions of daily survival. At the same time, John is given a glimpse of the Lamb standing on Mount Zion, surrounded by those who refuse to bow to the beast. Their voices rise like the sound of many waters, singing a song that no one else can learn. It is a moment of hope, but also of division. The line between loyalty and compromise grows sharper, and every choice now carries eternal weight. The vision intensifies further with angels flying through the heavens, proclaiming warnings to the earth. They declare judgment on those who follow the beast, but they also promise blessing to those who endure, even if endurance comes at the cost of life itself. It is here that suspense thickens. The clash is not merely coming, it is already here, unfolding with each choice, each allegiance, each act of courage or fear. John's eyes see harvests, one of grain, gathered in light, and another of grapes, crushed in wrath. The images are fierce and unforgettable, pressing the question, which harvest will humanity belong to? The escalation is clear. The stage is set, not only for war between armies, but for the greatest conflict of loyalty and faith the world has ever faced. And the story presses forward, leaving us breathless, knowing the climax is near but not yet revealed. The vision races toward its peak, and John sees the heavens open wide. A rider appears on a white horse, clothed in glory, with eyes like fire and a crown upon his head. His name is Faithful and True, and he comes not as a gentle lamb, but as a warrior king. Armies of heaven ride behind him, clothed in white, their presence blazing like the dawn. The dragon, the beast, and all who followed them gather their forces for one final stand, a battle that feels like the very heart of history breaking open. The clash is not of equal power. Light meets darkness, truth meets lies, and the Lamb who was slain now leads as the conqueror. The beast and the false prophet are seized, their reign of deception shattered, and their power stripped away. The dragon, that ancient enemy, is bound, cast down so he can no longer deceive the nations. For a moment, peace spreads like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Justice rolls out, and those who endured are lifted up, their voices joining in songs of victory. The climax is intense, a vision of evil finally confronted and overcome by the strength of the one who reigns from eternity. Yet just as relief settles in, John's vision twists once more. After the 1,000 years of peace, the dragon is released for a final rebellion. The nations rise again, countless as the sand, surrounding the beloved city. It feels as though the story might collapse back into chaos, that the cycle of conflict will never end. But this time, fire falls from heaven, swift and final, consuming the rebellion before it can take root. The dragon is cast into the place of ultimate judgment, never to rise again. What follows is the great throne, brilliant and terrifying. Books are opened, lives are measured, and each soul stands in the light of truth. The earth and sky themselves flee from the presence of the one seated there. And then, from beyond the horizon of despair, comes the greatest surprise of all, a new heaven and a new earth, where the former things pass away. The story closes not with ruin, but with renewal, as John sees a holy city descending, radiant with the promise that the dwelling of God will now be with humanity forever. Suspense lingers still, for the vision does not tell when, only that it will surely come. And the words echo as the story ends, "Behold, I am making all things new." John's vision closes with a picture of hope that feels almost too beautiful to imagine. He sees the holy city, the New Jerusalem, shining like a jewel, descending out of heaven. Its gates are never shut, its streets gleam with light, and there is no need for sun or moon, because the glory of God gives it brightness. The pain, the conflict, the struggle that carried through the visions, all come to rest here. Every tear is wiped away, and death, mourning, and sorrow are gone forever. For the first time, creation feels complete, whole, and at peace. The subplots that once filled the vision find their answers. The martyrs who cried out for justice now stand clothed in white, singing songs of victory. The faithful churches that endured temptation and persecution now share in the reward promised to them. Even the struggles that seem small, the hidden acts of faith that might have gone unnoticed, are honored in this final vision. Nothing is wasted, and nothing is forgotten. The river of life flows clear as crystal, running from the throne through the heart of the city. On either side grows the tree of life, its leaves bringing healing to the nations. The conflict between loyalty to the beast and loyalty to the Lamb is finally resolved, for in this place only truth remains. The vision shifts from fear and suspense to rest and belonging. Here, humanity is no longer divided, no longer struggling in shadows, but living face to face with the one who promised to make all things new. For John, exiled on Patmos, this revelation was not just about the future. It was also about endurance in the present. The story of Revelation calls every listener to hold fast, to remember that even in times of trial, history is moving toward renewal. The beasts, the battles, the struggles, they do not have the last word. Hope does. And as the final words are written, John records the promise that has echoed across centuries. Surely I am coming soon. It is both a warning and a comfort, reminding us that the end is not an end at all, but a new beginning. The vision leaves us not in despair, but in expectation, with hearts lifted toward the day when all things will be restored. This is the complete story of Revelation, a story of mystery, endurance, and ultimately, hope.